Welcome again to Jog On, running you through to geography success here at SRC Bede. This video and this episode is focusing on the G4 paper. The G4 paper for you second years is your final exam. Now, this paper can be very complex if you don't learn your pre-release material. We're hopefully going to get that pre-release material around Easter. So, the topic divides up into 4 themes to address sustainability. Those themes are energy, water, food and cities. The cities topic is generally a combination of the previous 3. So, if we look at energy, you need to know and understand the types of energy generation. So, for example, wind power and its positives and negatives. You need to identify information from the 3 Gorges Dam and again identify the costs and benefits of that process. You need to identify information on nuclear power issues, so for example, the Fukushima disaster and Chernobyl. You also need to identify and compare energy consumption in the UK, China and Sweden. Moving on to water, there are a number of useful case studies here. The Katsa Dam Water Transfer Scheme in Lesotho is one that is very useful. Another one is factors affecting water supply and demand. The Murray-Darling Basin, so water use and strategies there, and the Central Arizona Project, which is in the Colorado River, something which you will also have covered in first year. Finally, in the water topic, you have methods of water conservation and strategies, so for example, reusing grey water at home. Moving further down into the topic, you can see that we cover cities and food. In terms of cities, there are a number of things to look at. The first one is the types of cities that we have. So for example, we have La Défense, which has been a city which has been redeveloped. We have Singapore and we have Lagos. All these are different categories of cities. We need to look at the areal extent, so the area that they cover. So the growth of LA and Mexico City. As you notice, an LEDC and an MEDC example. The quality of environment, again for LA and Mexico City. Looking at disparities of wealth, so the difference between rich and poor. Rio and London are our examples there. We then need to look at solutions. So Curitiba is an example of traffic management, so too is London with the Boris bikes and the bus lanes. Another example is Seoul, so how it's managed its extent, so for example satellite cities, and also the quality of the environment, the regeneration of Manchester and Singapore. Food can be the most complicated topic because it links into other areas such as biology and chemistry. However, we look at it very simply as an overview. So, you've got to know about sustainable ways in which food can be grown and generated. So you have hydroponics, our case study will be Thanet Earth in Kent. Aeroponics, where we look at AeroGreen in Singapore. Zimbabwe, the issues to do with soil degradation. The Blue Revolution in Canada. So what this means is fish farming. So salmon farming on the Canadian coast. The Common Agricultural Policy. This is something which goes back nearly 20 years. However, we've got to know what effect it has had on Britain's farmers, Europe's farmers and the sustainable supply of food. We also need to look at the developing issue of GM crops. So for example, looking at Monsanto and the crops that they've developed and the impact that they are having. And then finally, we actually need to look at some trends which link into other areas of life. So for example, obesity and malnourishment, and looking and graphing and mapping those bits of information. Thank you again for watching this video series.